Somewhere online right now, a headline is spreading fast. It says a major American bank, Chase, has made a new move on the Iraqi dinar. It hints that something has changed, that cash-out procedures are ready, that people holding dinar in their closets and safes might finally be able to walk into a bank and walk out rich. It sounds exciting. It sounds official. It even sounds like it's backed by one of the biggest banks in the world. But before you believe it, ask one simple question. Where is this actually coming from? In the next few minutes, we're going to trace this claim back to its roots. We're going to look at what's actually true, what's unconfirmed, and what has been repeated so many times online that it just feels true, and we'll walk through real, documented federal cases along the way. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how claims like this spread and how to protect yourself from them. Let's start at the beginning. To understand this claim, we need to understand the Iraqi dinar itself. The Iraqi dinar is the official currency of Iraq. Since the early 2000s, the currency has traded at a low value against the US dollar, and its history has made it a frequent target for investment promoters online. That low value is where this whole story begins. For years, a theory has circulated online known as the dinar RV, short for revaluation. The idea is that Iraq's currency will suddenly and dramatically increase in value, sometimes to levels many times higher than the US dollar. According to this theory, anyone holding physical Iraqi dinar could exchange it and become instantly wealthy. This idea isn't new. Financial journalists and regulators have documented versions of this claim circulating for more than 2 decades, describing it as a long-running promotion that has never delivered the mass windfall it promises. A 2025 investigative piece by Iraq Business News, a long-running outlet covering Iraq's economy, laid out 10 of the most common false claims used to sell the RV story and noted that economists, currency analysts, and regulators have consistently described it as unsupported by how currency markets actually work. What is new is the way these claims attach themselves to real institutions. Over time, the online dinar community has referenced various banks, sometimes claiming a specific bank is preparing, training staff, or getting ready for a mass currency exchange event. Chase Bank is one of the names that appears in these claims. But here's the key distinction we need to hold on to throughout this video. A bank being mentioned in a claim is not the same as a bank confirming that claim. So where does the Chase update claim actually come from? Typically from social media posts, YouTube videos, and dinar forums, not for Chase itself. This is the pattern we need to look at more closely. Iraq Business News, the Iraqi dinar revaluation deception, 10 persistent false claims exposed 2025. Let's break down how currency exchange actually works in plain terms. Currency values are set through global markets, based on factors like a country's economy, trade, oil production, political stability, and central bank policy. That's a basic principle of how foreign exchange markets function, and it's the same reasoning regulators use when they explain why a currency doesn't simply jump in value overnight because of an online rumor. Banks do offer foreign currency exchange services for some currencies, but that's a completely different thing from participating in a special, secret, large-scale cash-out event for dinar holders. Multiple state financial regulators, including Washington State's Department of Financial Institutions, have specifically noted that the Iraqi dinar generally cannot be redeemed through most U.S. banking institutions and currency exchange houses because it isn't freely convertible outside Iraq. Here's the pattern used in these claims. A video or post will describe something vague, a source inside the bank, an insider document, a leak call. It will suggest a bank is on standby or preparing systems. But when you look for the actual verifiable statement, a press release, a public announcement, a regulatory filing, an interview, it's usually missing. This is what researchers call an unfalsifiable claim structure. It's built so that, if nothing happens, believers are told to wait a little longer. If a bank denies it, that denial gets reframed as they're just not allowed to say yet. If a video's prediction is wrong, a new video appears with an updated date. That structure is what keeps the story alive. Not new evidence, but an endless refreshing of the timeline. We'll talk more about why in Chapter 5. But first, let's look directly at the evidence question. Washington State Department of Financial Institutions, DFI alert. Iraqi Dinar scams DFI.wa.gov. Let's be direct. As of this recording, there is no statement published on Chase's official newsroom, investor relations pages, or verified press channels confirming a special Iraqi dinar cash-out program tied to a revaluation event. Anyone can check this themselves directly on Chase's official website, because official bank policy changes are always announced there first, not on a third-party YouTube channel. If you search mainstream, independent financial reporting, outlets like Reuters, the Associated Press, or major business news organizations, you won't find coverage confirming these specific RV update claims either. What you will find, if you search, is a long paper trail of regulatory warnings and completed federal court cases about people who marketed the dinar as a guaranteed investment. We'll walk through several of those documented cases in. There's also a pattern worth naming without exaggeration. Content making these bank update claims tends to recycle across different channels, with new titles and thumbnails, but similar structure and claims, often redated to stay current. This is a well-documented feature of long-running online rumor ecosystems, and the Dinar RV claim specifically has been tracked by financial writers for over a decade under this exact pattern. None of this means every person sharing this content is acting in bad faith. Many are simply sharing what they've seen elsewhere, hoping it's true. But belief, repetition, and hope are not the same as verification. So how do you verify a financial claim like this yourself? A simple framework. Does the claim come directly from the institution's own official communication? Can you find it reported by established, independent financial journalism? Is there a specific, checkable date, document, or number, not just soon or any day now? If a claim fails all three, it's reasonable to treat it as unconfirmed. It's worth understanding why this kind of content keeps getting made, because the incentives explain a lot. Videos with urgent, dramatic titles about sudden wealth tend to perform well on platforms that reward clicks and watch time. Titles built around phrases like breaking, urgent, and update are designed to trigger curiosity and a fear of missing out. Beyond ad revenue, court records from real dinar-related fraud cases show a consistent pattern. Promoters built paid memberships, exchanged services, or consulting offers around the promise of an imminent revaluation. In the federal case against Sterling Currency Group, for example, prosecutors described a business that marketed itself as a leading dinar exchanger while spreading unsubstantiated claims about the currency's investment potential to bring in customers. This isn't a statement about any one specific person's intent, and we're not naming or targeting any individual creator here. It's a description of a broader, documented pattern. Content that promises extraordinary financial upside tends to attract monetization strategies built around sustained viewer attention, regardless of whether the underlying claim has ever been confirmed. The emotional pull matters too. Hope is a powerful motivator, especially for people facing financial stress. A story that says you might already be rich and just not know it, yet is emotionally compelling in a way that dry financial facts are not. Understanding this doesn't mean assuming bad intent from everyone involved. It means recognizing that attention and hope online can become products and staying aware of that when you're deciding what to trust. U.S. Attorney's Office, Northern District of Georgia, FBI, Atlanta. Press release on the Sterling Currency Group indictment justice.gov. This is not a theoretical risk. It has a documented legal record. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission has brought enforcement actions over dinar-related investment schemes. In one case, the SEC reached a settlement with a Utah-based promoter who told investors the Iraqi government's revaluation was not a matter of if, but when, and who agreed to repay $1.7 million after the SEC alleged the investment was never legitimate. The U.S. Commodity Futures Trading Commission has pursued similar cases. In one, a federal court ordered the operators of a company called Dinar Corp, along with a related firm, to pay more than $22.6 million in penalties and disgorgement over a fraudulent foreign currency scheme built substantially around the Iraqi dinar. The Department of Justice and FBI have prosecuted multiple dinar-related fraud cases. Executives of Sterling Currency Group, an Atlanta-based dinar exchange business, were convicted in 2018 on federal fraud charges tied to a currency exchange operation that handled roughly $600 million, after prosecutors said the company spread misinformation about the dinar's investment potential. Separately, federal prosecutors in New York secured a guilty plea from a Virginia man who ran a Ponzi-style dinar investment scheme that defrauded more than 150 investors, including U.S. military veterans and their families, out of roughly 2 million. State regulators have warned about this too. The Alabama Securities Commission, the Texas State Securities Board, and Washington State's Department of Financial Institutions have all issued public investor alerts specifically naming Iraqi dinar investment promotions as a recurring source of fraud complaints. We're not naming or attacking any individual channel or person in this video. The goal is to help you recognize the pattern itself, using the public record, so you can evaluate any similar claim from any source with the same clear thinking. SECV. Joshua J. Hansen reported by Forbes 2016, citing SEC settlement documents, CFTC v. Husum Tay, Dinar Corporation, Inc., and Mimonex Incorporated CFTC.gov press release, February 2020, U.S. Attorney's Office, Northern District of Georgia, Sterling Currency Group Case, Justice.gov. Convictions reported October 2018. U.S. Attorney's Office, Southern District of New York, United States versus William Burbank Justice.gov, 2019. Alabama Securities Commission investor alert on Bitcoin and dinar schemes. ASC.alabama.gov. Texas State Securities Board. Guess who's coming to dinar? Investor alert ssb.texas.gov. Washington State Department of Financial Institutions. DFI alert. Iraqi dinar scams DFI.wa.gov. Behind claims like this are real people. The federal cases described in the last chapter weren't abstract. They involved everyday investors. In the Burbank case, prosecutors specifically noted that many victims were military veterans and their families, people who trusted a promoter with their savings based on promises about the dinar's future value. In the Sterling Currency Group case, the business's own scale, hundreds of millions of dollars flowing through it, shows how large trust in this claim has grown over time. Some individuals have held onto Iraqi dinar for years, sometimes purchased at meaningful cost, waiting for a revaluation that content like this promises is just around the corner. For some, this isn't a small side bet. It can represent real savings tied to real hope for financial relief. That hope is understandable. Many people are drawn to these claims during periods of financial stress, when the idea of a life-changing windfall feels especially meaningful. This is exactly why clear, honest information matters. Not to embarrass anyone who has believed this claim. Genuinely, many thoughtful people have, but because the documented cases show that ongoing false hope has had a real, measurable financial cost for real families. If you or someone you know has been holding on to this hope, that's not something to feel ashamed of. Curiosity about a compelling story is a very human thing. What matters most going forward is how decisions are made from here, grounded in verified information rather than repeated but unconfirmed claims. So what's the more grounded approach if you're interested in currency, savings, or financial opportunity. Verify before you act. For any claim involving a bank, a government, or a currency, go to the official, verified source directly. The institution's own newsroom or a regulator like the SEC, SEC.gov, or CFTC, CFTC.gov, rather than relying on secondhand videos or forum posts. Be cautious with urgency. Real financial institutions rarely require snap decisions. Claims that pressure you to act before it's too late deserve extra scrutiny, not less. This is one of the exact red flags named in CFTC and state regulator investor alerts. Talk to a licensed professional. A licensed, registered financial advisor can help evaluate any specific investment or currency question based on your personal situation. Something a YouTube video, including this one, cannot do. Diversify your information sources. Cross-check claims against independent financial journalism and official regulator alerts, not just channels within the same online community repeating each other. None of this is about dismissing your hope for financial improvement. It's about protecting it by building decisions on solid ground instead of unverified promises. So, is there a new Chase Bank update on the Iraqi Dinar RV and a cash-out process? Based on Chase's own official channels and independent financial reporting, there is no confirmed evidence of this. What exists is a long-running online claim, one with a documented history of federal fraud prosecutions attached to it from the SEC, the CFTC, and the Department of Justice, that has never been confirmed by the institutions it names. That doesn't mean you have to feel foolish for wondering about it. These stories are designed to be compelling, and they've fooled sophisticated people, not just casual viewers. What matters is what you do with that curiosity now. Verify, question, and check the primary source before making any financial decision. If this video helped you think more clearly about this topic, consider sharing it with someone who might see similar claims in their feed. And if you want more evidence-based breakdowns like this one, cutting through hype to find out what's actually verifiable, subscribe because we're not done asking questions. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and always verify before you trust. This content is for educational purposes only and is not financial advice.